What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Homie Hangout, where we help others move in excellence. And R. Kelly has been found guilty again. A lot of you guys will know that he's doing 30 years for racketeering involving various crimes in children and conspiracy to do a whole lot, right? But then he also went on trial for 4 counts of child videos. I'm gonna call them videos. Enticing a minor to engage in activity, and then obstruction of justice related to his 2008 case, right? So he was found guilty. 3 of the 4 child video ones, 3 out of the 5 of the enticing a minor, and was acquitted of the conspiracy to obstruct justice. So there's some interesting stuff here, man. It's wild. It's disgusting. R. Kelly is a horrendous individual. We already know that. A lot of you guys have probably heard of the infamous P tape, right? That I remember years ago when that had come out, and so I haven't seen it, but it's been talked about where R. Kelly urinates on what is believed to be an underage girl, right? And she's not wearing any clothes. So they had found that girl, I guess, back in the days, and she had always said that it didn't happen, right? And she even testified in 2002 in a grand jury, stating that she's never had activity with him when she was a minor, nothing else. But she was a key witness in this case. She decided to come forward, and the details of her story, which I'll share a little bit of here, are just ridiculous, man. So the DA had 5 minors that he said that they said were abused by Kelly, and or 5 people that were minors at the time, right, in the 90s, and was abused by Kelly, and 4 of those 5 had been videoed, right. So this lady, she's going by the name Jane, right, like Jane Doe type of thing, but she's now 37 years old, and she said that acts had started when she was 14, and then actual intercourse had started when she was 15, and it happened hundreds of times between ages of 15 and 18. But how she came about to be in in the possession, frankly, of R. Kelly is a story that I think some of us are familiar with when we've seen the different documentaries and the different stories about this dude and his whole conspiracy. It was legitimate to charge him with RICO cases in the past, and there's a reason he was found guilty. He had an entire operation around this. So her aunt, right, Jane's aunt, who goes by the professional name Sparkle, was doing music. Jane was doing music. She was touring around since like the ages of 12, maybe even younger. She was touring around with a bunch of her cousins, and they were part of a Christian rap group, a Christian hip hop group, right? So they traveled the world. And at 13, Sparkle, her aunt, um, or 12 or 13, introduced her to R. Kelly. Sparkle worked for R. Kelly and also had a romantic relationship with him. And so he wound up coming to one of their performances. He's like, "Man, you guys are really good. I support your music, this and that." When she turns 13, Sparkle tells her, "Hey, you should have R. Kelly play a bigger role in your life, right?" And so she asked him to become her godfather at the insistence, at the urging of her relative, to which he agreed, right? But once he became her godfather, then the parents were more comfortable with her staying the night, staying weekends, staying long periods of time with no adult supervision, um, with R. Kelly, right? Without the aunt, without them, which before they weren't really keen on that. And so within weeks, those acts started happening. And then when she turned 15, it took a step up, right? So 2002, 2000 actually, Department of Children and Family Services in Chicago started investigating her, right? Investigating allegations that R. Kelly was having relations with her in particular. And so she denied it, right? She denied it. The police questioned her. She denied it. Um, and then like in 2002 is when that P tape comes out and it's making the rounds. And so the parents of Jane and Jane have a meeting with R. Kelly. In that meeting, R. Kelly admits that yes, this has been happening. Jane denied that it was happening. R. Kelly was like, nah, this is what we do. Now, she still stayed with R. Kelly and was a part of his team, for lack of a better term. And I think I remember from the documentaries where the parents were basically like excommunicated. They couldn't reach her. Um, they there was a lot of mental abuse. There's a lot that's said about the physical abuse that R. Kelly did, which rightfully so, a lot should be said about that. It's horrible. There was also a ton of mental abuse and emotional abuse, not only of his victims, of the girls that he took advantage of, but also of their families, right, and of their loved ones. And there was some families and loved ones like this Aunt Sparkle who also were abusive, right? In my opinion, she is as guilty, if not more so, than than R. Kelly, because I don't see how you're in an intimate relationship with this dude and you're working with him and you're around him all the time and you don't know his get down. And who offers for somebody like, oh, you should ask this dude to be your godfather? That shit's weird. It's just flat out weird. And so, anyways, she always denied. She denied that they were having relations when she was 15. Um, the tape comes out 2002. Like I said, they have a sit down. She's subpoenaed in 2002 to testify before the grand jury. She goes and she lies, right? She lies to the grand jury. So, in order for her to testify in this case, they granted her immunity and they showed parts of the video and asked her to describe what was happening. You know how embarrassing that must be? I, there's layers and layers to stuff, but the woman's 37 years old. And it said that she was crying in court at times, which you can only imagine. She's watching a little girl get taken advantage of, right? Um, and so yeah, that he got found guilty of those things. His defense attorneys in this case are horrible, man. Horrible. Like, I understand they have a job to do and they're kind of throwing stuff at the wall, hoping that something works. But but afterwards, one of his attorneys said, Bonjian, I think their name is, said that there was a mixed verdict, but we won more counts than we lost. Right? If the jury concluded that he was guilty on the first three counts, would they care enough to consider the evidence of the rest? And they demonstrated that they did. They did their job. They looked at each count separately. This fool's saying we won more than we lost. Bro, your dude's doing 30 years already on a conspiracy, and he's about to get a boatload of time for this. Like, he has child sex videos. There's, there's the way to look at that is twisted. And they grilled this girl, this lady now, Jane, on the stand. Well, why you been lying for 20 something years and all of a sudden now you're telling the truth? You're just telling lies so that you don't get hit with um with perjury, right? With lying. But the thing is, if she didn't come forward and tell the truth, there would be no perjuring of herself. So that doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, you're up here lying to save yourself from prosecution. Nah, fool, she puts herself at risk by testifying that she lied before the grand jury. But it is not unusual to get immunity that way. And in fact, there's laws now on the books that is not even the prosecutor's discretion. There's laws on the books that say if you're caught up in sex trafficking and that sort of thing, right? If if you're the woman or the child or the abused person in that situation, and you perjure yourself, I believe this might only be for California. Actually, I'd have to go back and look, but I know it's true for California. Um, if you perjure yourself, you can't be held accountable for that, right? And even if you have perjury in the past, um, then you don't get you can get that waived off your record if you lied about this happened or this didn't happen in terms of your activities, and if you were compelled or coerced to lie based on this criminal relationship that you had, right? With a pimp, basically. So he's that's just foul, man. It's foul. I support defense attorneys. I work with tons of defense attorneys. I understand what it is to try to defend a case, but this is one of the reasons that I could never be an attorney, because that attorney is obligated by law to grill this woman, to grill Jane, to try to discredit her, to try to demean her, to try to get her to change her story. That's his job. That's his legal obligation as a defense attorney retained on this case. I could not fulfill that job. I couldn't work a case like this. Um, nah, ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. Anyways, help others move with excellence, man. That's what homies do. Help yourself at the same time because you're worth it. Help your community because they need you, and watch out for your loved ones, man. Watch out for your loved ones. And we're just talking on the live earlier, man. It's hard being a young person today. It was hard being a young person then. It's even harder today. Keep an eye on your people, man. We ain't got nobody but ourselves. And be nice, be kind, be nice. Be nice, but be kind, to one another. Have each other's back, man, and protect our young people from threats that they may not even know exist, but we see. All right, you guys, take care.